Hey folks, it's the 30th of October 2017. It's a bit past 7, and I got a mixture of good news and bad news, which is usually the case with me these days. Let's get the Nofap part of things out of the way. I have not relapsed. I think it's like 45 days of what I would call literal Nofap or easy mode, and I think I might be coming up on 20 something, maybe almost a month of what they call hard mode or no PMO. So having relapsed that, I feel a lot mentally clearer and more in touch with my emotions, and I've been doing better in my classes. Definitely more focused, more able to handle the stress and the strain, and not even just so much of that, but like strategize better and get my work done, that sort of thing. So definitely see those benefits. However, I just want to move on first to the good news and then to some of the bad news. The good news is that my school has decided to release some financial aid to me, so um, it's like part of the Pell Grant or so, but it covered, um, excuse me, it covered whatever was remaining on my balance that was due for my tuition. Excuse me, so um, those holds should be lifted soon once that gets processed, and then the refund is gonna get sent to my account, so um, I'll have some cash in there finally, and I can eventually, once they get through their final petition review decision, assuming they release the rest of the aid to me, um, I can reimburse my dad for helping me out, and I'll have the money to do other things, for the housing and all that kind of stuff, so I won't have that hanging over my head. Um, this is really good news. I might not seem like I'm expressing it that much because I have other things going on, which is the part of the bad news. But I am pretty happy with that. It was great to log in there and see that there was no charges due and my classes hadn't been dropped. And then I went and checked my financial aid, the award, and it said, oh, you've been given this, or you can accept these loans or whatever. And so I got that. I'm pretty happy with that. That's definitely a good thing. Um, so on to the bad news. The bad news is a mixture of stuff that has to do with me and stuff that doesn't have to do with me. The stuff that doesn't have to do with me is the fact that one of my close friends who is kind of like a big brother figure to me. I would say if anybody were to ask me like who's your big brother, I'd point it to him and say he's my big brother. Um, Given that I don't have an actual biological big brother, but him and his girlfriend, for all intents and purposes, he considered her his girlfriend. They were going out, seeing each other, that sort of thing, but they broke up, and as with all these situations, it's kind of like, it takes two hands to clap. And, he definitely knows where he made his mistakes, but there's those areas where she really made things hard for him, led him on, was carrying baggage around from past experiences, not necessarily past relationships, but kind of like the experience of being left at the altar, in a sense, if you will. She'd gone through that a number of times, and um, that just kind of caused her to look at things a certain way. And she had toxic friends who were kind of being like the Iago to her Othello, whispering in her ear, so to speak, saying, "Oh, you can find someone else who's better. Um, you're moving down to L.A., let's say. You can find someone down there. Forget this guy. He's nothing. He's just a short whatever. Shoulder to cry on or whatever." And all those sorts of influences and the past baggage and that sort of thing converged to causing her to basically lead him on for 6 to 7 months. And of course, there's also the influence of his own family wanting to kind of get him married, and kind of putting pressure on his end of things. Um, but it all was like a bad combination of stuff, and perhaps in the future they run into each other again and things start up again, and maybe things are settled in her life, and she's talking about, oh, I'm moving and I can't even take care of myself, and I'm doing all this stuff and changing jobs or whatever, and thinking that her life's a mess and whatnot. I see that as an excuse, but because I've been through what I've been through, so um, that's all this has to do with him, and it does affect me not only because I see I see him as my big brother and we hang out a lot. Um, but it's kind of like sort of the ripple effect of people you associate with that kind of ripples into your life. And that leads me into the stuff that has to do with me. Has to do with my girlfriend and I. Now, we've been talking about marriage and me going over there and meeting her father and all that stuff for quite a while. And I've just been struggling to get through school. And, I've had roadblocks, I've had setbacks, I've had delays, I've had all these things come up. And, with most girls, like, they would have left me by now. Not because I'm some scumbag or so, but because, you know, they got their agenda, they got their schedule, they can find some other guy in their mind at least, who's 10 times better than you, and that sort of deal. And she's stuck around so far, but in part due to her hearing about the friend, and his breakup. She doesn't know that they broke up yet, but he basically kind of did something similar to what I had done in the past, I guess, in a sense. But I thought we had closed that subject. I thought we had settled things. Um, and I guess she was kind of seeing, behavior mimicked, and if she hears about that breakup, then it's going to be like, oh, well, she broke up with him. Why don't I break up with you, perhaps? There's that sort of thing. And then there's influences from her sisters and her family and just all sort of things at play. And as of late, whenever we come up onto the topic of marriage or me visiting, I've kind of been hesitant to talk about it. And some of it's been due to the fact that I've just been doggone tired. It's been like 3 or 4 a.m. when we were talking. And I just wanted to go to bed at that point in time. I didn't want to, end up saying something stupid due to being sleep deprived, because being a chemical engineering student, I don't get that much sleep, or at least I don't get that much sleep consistently. If it's the weekend, you'll find that if you were going to try to call me up or so, you'll find that I'll probably be waking up around 2 or 3 or even 4 p.m. And that's normal for me on the weekends because I'm just, that's that's when I wake up for the sleep I've lost during the weekdays, because I'll be up until 3 or 4 or even 5 a.m. studying or working on something, trying to get work done. And, then I'll come home and I'll get a couple hours of sleep and then I'll have to go to class and I gotta chug some energy drink or, Pepsi or something like that to keep myself awake and just get through my day. And then the weekend comes and it's like I want to sleep. So if that topic like that, which is kind of a touchy topic, comes up, I don't necessarily always want to talk about it. And there's also the fact that in that culture, it's kind of like when you go to the father, it's kind of like you're having to quote unquote show them the money. And it's really a matter of like, going to the father to ask him for the daughter's hand in marriage. And that's kind of like a very Western or American or Anglo American or even German American way of putting it. That you're asking for the daughter's hand in marriage from the father, and he's gonna want to like see your stats, so to speak, and see if you're a good investment of sorts. And if he determines that you are, then and it's like good for you. You get that. You get to pass go, or you get to collect your $200. You get to marry her. But if he doesn't, it's either it's either A, no, or it's B, no, but hey, we're willing to work on this, as sort of a deal. Like if you can within the next so many months or whatever, put up this or put up that, then I'll say yes. And I'm just really afraid of that aspect, because we've been together for 3 years, 5 months, and this is the longest relationship I've ever been in. This is the one girl I've really talked to about marriage, and we've gone through all the sorts of things, the whole what do we want the wedding to be like, and what do we want to name our kids, and where do we want to live, and who's going to work where, and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like the thing that really scares me about it, depresses me, gives me so much anxiety, just makes me so sad, is the fact that if her father, for whatever reason, and it could be something like so stupid, okay, because it could be something like race, it could be something like the ethnicity, it could be the fact that if she marries me as opposed to some Moroccan guy, then he's not going to get, his status access via her marrying some high status Moroccan guy as opposed to her marrying an American guy like me, even though I'm Muslim, you know? It could be something like that, and he could just say no, and the way it seems to work so much is that, like, you're just supposed to accept it, you know? And this is so much of the problem in the Muslim community. I'll be honest with you, folks. That's so much of the problem. The way marriage and relationships are handled, even between Muslims, even when they're trying to approach it in a halal manner, or an acceptable manner, in the eyes of God. Even if you're trying to do things like that, it's like, okay, you're supposed to just like either you're supposed to in a sense let your parents run your life and like have them throw you together with someone and then have magic happen, the sparks fly, and you're just in love with that person and things of that nature. And we know from so much of life that's just not how things work. And if you try to get to know someone beforehand, you get attached to them, and the parents just don't like you for some stupid reason. It's like you're gonna have your heart broken, and it's just it seems like they don't allow love to exist or love to form, and it's like love is just something that it's viewed as like sentimental foolishness. Which, from one angle, I know there are a lot of people out there who've been burned enough times who, they see a video like this and they want to go and act like, oh, I'm MGTOW, I'm, red pill awareness, love doesn't exist, love is BS, and all that kind of stuff. But, maybe it's my nature, maybe it's who I am, I don't know. I can't look at the world through those kinds of lenses. The bitterness would kill me. I wouldn't see the point of so many things. And people might talk about living your life for the greater cause of humanity or bettering the world. But if I didn't have love, I wouldn't know why I should care, Oh, I'm just gonna go make a bunch of money for what reason? I don't need that much money. I don't want to drive around in a Ferrari, If I was making 250K a year, I'd say 99% of that was left after taxes would be going towards my wife and kids. Because that's where my purpose, my fulfillment, my drive would come from. And you can call me a weak, you can call me a wimp, whatever, but this is why I say I'm purple pill. Not red pill, not blue pill. I know there are bad women out there. I know there are bad relationships out there. I want to do my best to avoid them and have as good of a relationship as I can. Get married, have a successful relationship with my wife and kids as I can. Not be a simp, not be a fool, not be a pushover, but at the same time not be this like bitter little man stuck in my, parents' basement or parents' attic or whatever, you know, tapping away on some forum or putting videos out talking about how women suck and I hate women and da 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 da, because I couldn't, navigate the world of relationships. And I failed at it. I wouldn't want to be that person. That's how I would see myself becoming. Maybe other people wouldn't become like that. It's perfectly possible for other folks to not turn into that, but I know myself well enough. And to get back on topic, I'm feeling really down about that whole situation because she got angry at me. She said, I'm closing the subject. I don't want to talk about it. Not till next summer or something like that. And she's talked like this when she was angry, and then like a day or two later she gets in a better mood or whatever. But now I'm trying to just keep my head screwed on right because I know I work at all this stuff that I'm working on. The next 6 months to a year, I could be like floating in life. Decent grades, good grades, land an internship somewhere. Like I interview at that place, and I'll see what they say. I want to get my appointment set up with my advisor and get things signed off on my classes for next semester, so that I can then give them the availability and then update them on that. assuming that they haven't picked someone else already. I know someone else is interviewing tomorrow, so and I know that guy, and it's like I get this feeling with some of the other folks. They really don't need an internship or a job right now. I'm the one who needs it, because there's so many other things riding on it. But I'm gonna do my darndest right now to get things set up as best as I can, and just go for it. And there's one or two other places I can apply to, and hopefully interview at, and you know see where things go. And if it ends up me having to go into something that's not necessarily related to chemical engineering right away, just so I have some engineering experience, I'll do it. I'll take that. Um, but like I said, like she seems to look at things in terms of the immediate present. And even with her seeing her sister get married and her sister having problems in their marriage, you know, it's like there's this pressure from her sisters, including the one who's married, who apparently, for some odd reason, even though she has issues in her own marriage because she's very homesick, and her husband is having interviews not only in Morocco but over in France, and he's possibly going to be working over there, and they'll probably have to move because that's just the way things are. The company sends you where the company sends you, and if you don't want to take the position, somebody else will. And if you don't, well, sorry, honey, I couldn't, I can't make a living anymore because I just lost my job because you didn't want to move with us, move with me and relocate, you know. Even though she has those issues, and her own parents, their parents had to actually intervene. Her mom had to go from their home all the way down to the coast to Casablanca to talk some sense into her, because she was basically she was saying to the point that she already wanted to divorce him. And they'd only been married for 2 months. And they've only been married for 2 months, and you know there's certain things I could see from her perspective that were causing issues, because he was like working all the time, and just on the weekends sleeping. Maybe they would go do something on Sundays, but she was kind of alone in the house, and I understand it to a certain extent, but um, all those influences have been kind of leading to this conflict with my girlfriend, and it's affecting my emotional state really negatively. And as the man, I gotta act like I'm this rock that can't be cracked. And I think about this in terms of in relation to Nofap right now at this moment, because I know like people like Mac Attack, and there were a couple other folks who like relapsed after they had a major breakup. And it was, I mean, I can see the logic that will lead a person down that path, especially if they're having sex with their girlfriend, and now suddenly she's like, I don't want to do that with you, I want to do that with somebody else, and, you know, I want to break up with you, or we're through, I'm leaving you, or I'm leaving you for this other guy, or whatever. But it's like so many things in life, and I really hope I can hold up to this if the worst case scenario occurs. But so many things in life have led me to believe that, you know, none of that pain matters. The world doesn't care. The suffering doesn't matter. The world doesn't care. They only care if you're able to deal with it and you're able to overcome it. It's kind of like going through military training in boot camp or in OCS or so. You know, they're going to push you and push you and push you until you crack, until you fail, to see if you can bounce back and how you do so. And what matters is not whether or not you fail, because you're going to fail. It's like in life, it doesn't matter. Bad things are going to happen. What matters is how you bounce back and how you deal with it. And that's where the world will respect you, or other than that, they'll just forget about you. They at first they might lose respect for you, but then eventually they'll just won't care because you're nobody to them. And it's a cold hard truth of reality that, it's like you go to the bookstore and you look at the biography section. They don't really have any biographies on all the people who failed, all the people who gave up, do they? They have biographies on the folks who didn't give up, who adapted, who persevered, who succeeded, you know? And it's kind of like if you want the world to care about you, you got to be one of those people, you know? And, they'll only care about you for a moment, but hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. Your pain doesn't matter, your suffering doesn't matter, your loneliness, your solitude, your feelings of rejection, your feelings of worthlessness. It doesn't matter. It's not a good enough excuse. And I've got to keep that in mind. I know because it feels like there's a breakup on the horizon. But then again, it's felt like that a good zillion times beforehand. Somehow we pulled through. You know, it's like next time I talk to her, I'm going to take a different approach to certain things. And come what may, I can't use that as a excuse to relapse to PMO. It's kind of like with so many other girls, the ones who rejected me, or the ones who broke up with me. Anytime I went and searched out that kind of content that reminded me of them, and this helped me try to imagine myself being with them in some way or shape or form, even though I'm still a virgin at 31, it didn't make me feel good. It didn't do anything for me. You know, it just exacerbated things, and it increased my feelings of, you could say, obsession with the girl in question. One-itis as they call it. And in the long run, it didn't do me any good. I mean, in fact, it did worse things for me because it distracted me from what should have been my purpose and should have been my focus. And I would end up with bad grades. I would end up in conflicts with my family, and conflicts with friends. It just was not a good set of decisions to make. And I hope I can hold to this and not be a hypocrite about it. But I'd say to anyone who's going through that kind of stuff, relapsing is not going to do you any good. It's not going to solve your problems. It's not going to make things go away. And it's truly not going to make you feel good in the sense that you're really wanting to feel good, So, anywho, that's where I'm at right now. Just watching one of 24/7's latest videos. Um, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to get up and go out and maybe get something to eat. I really don't know. I feel like I just have to get out of the house and go walking somewhere. And one thing I am doing, I've really lost the desire to be around those folks anymore, that group. I figured out that, and I'm going to try to close this video out soon, but I figured out everything in that environment is just manipulation and drama, and I'm just kind of like the odd man out. And the only way to win in a situation like that is just to not be there, to leave. And I have flip-flopped on it various times, but I'm at that point where I'm done with it. I got the help I needed to get, and most of the people in that group, can go kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. And as far as that girl is concerned, whether or not she's just an attention whore, straight up whore, just manipulative, whatnot, or if she ever was into me really, or is into me, or I don't care. I don't care anymore. And I don't want to be around there to play into that because it's just another distraction, and I look at the grand scheme of my life, and I've had so many situations like that with different girls, and it's like, after a point there, you just got to kind of figure things out. Something's got to give, and you got to change how you react and what you do in situations like that. And you just got to realize it's just not worth it. And, like I said, like even if she did like me, I, came back after breaking up with that guy or whatever, like, I'm not being a part of that. I'm not going to be a part of her harem. I knew a girl in high school who was in many ways like that, and she played my cousin and I off against each other, and it caused this major fallout between us, and it was really stupid. And you think by 31 I would have learned these things, and in many ways I have, but the big difference between just knowing things intellectually and actually having wisdom is the actual acting upon the knowledge, And I've got to do that. At 31, I got to do that. I got to know better, and I got to do better. So, I'm just steering clear of that room. I still have the access code to the door, so if I really need to go in there, I can. But um, unless somebody needs to meet up there or whatever, I really don't have any reason to. And I'll either be studying at home or studying at the library, and just going to class, getting my stuff done, and doing the best I can because, like I said, next 6 to 12 months, I could be really well set off in life. Or I could crash and burn. So, anywho, folks, I'm gonna actually upload this video and then I'm gonna head out. Maybe I'll just head out first and I'll come back and upload it. But this video I will upload. I had a bunch of other videos, but most of them were just, I don't know. I might review them and then see if I want to put them up, but I'll see you folks around. Take it easy and stay strong and stay on the path and really nothing's worth a relapse. Okay, nothing is worth a relapse. Nothing. See you folks around. Bye.